Welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm going to teach you about Gandhi and his contribution to education. This is a chapter of first unit, first chapter of 12th education book. So, let's start. As you all know, Gandhi was born on 2nd October 1969 in Porbandar. This is not important for us. What is important for us is what he said about education. The chief tenets of Gandhi's educational philosophy are: there should be free and compulsory primary education for all. Second, education should be craft centered. Third, education should be self supporting and self sufficient. Fourth, education should be given in the mother tongue or mother language. 5. Education should be based on non-violence. 6th, democratic ideals of education. So these are the chief tenets, chief features of Gandhi's educational philosophy. The first is primary education should be free and compulsory for all. Second is education should be craft centered. That means the education of a child should be around craft. Third is education should be self-supporting and self-sufficient. That means child should be able to earn and should learn how to earn while learning. The primary education should teach the child how to support himself, how to be self-sufficient. Fourth feature is education should be given in mother tongue, in the language, the mother language of the child. Education should be given. Education should be based on non-violence. Fifth point. As you know, Gandhi is a representative of non-violence, one-sided non-violence. He said that education should be based on non-violence. It is another matter that non-violence, what Gandhi taught, was not the part of Bharatiya philosophy. In Bharatiya philosophy, we have a different view on non-violence. Sixth point is democratic ideals of education. So, let's know what Gandhi said. I'm going to explain you well what is Gandhi's philosophy of education. First point is free and compulsory primary education. Gandhi wanted that primary education comprising age group 7 to 14 years should be free, compulsory and universal. The primary education is that education which is given to the child between the age of 7 to the age of 14, and that should be free and compulsory and universal according to Gandhi. Second is craft centered. Gandhi believed the principle of learning by doing, learning by activity. He believed that the highest development of personality and mind was possible only through handcraft. He wanted to begin education of child by teaching him a useful handcraft and enabling him to produce from the moment he begins his training. Thus, every school can be made self-supporting, the condition being that the state takes over manufactures of those schools. This was the thought of Gandhi, that every children should earn by handcraft. He did not say that a child can do something more than handcraft. He only bothered about handcraft. He only supported handcraft because that's what he knew. He only knew handcraft, nothing else. Third point is self-supporting education. Self-supporting means earning something and supporting your financial condition yourself. India being a poor country, it cannot afford to educate the millions of illiterate masses. In Gandhi's view, crores of children could not wait until the government found the necessary finance to educate them. He therefore suggested that education should be self-supporting. It was his belief that handcraft, besides developing the personality of a child, would make education self-supporting. It was his view that handcraft will make the children self-supporting. By handcraft, they can make products and they can sell and they can earn some money. But he only supported handcraft. He said nothing else to do other than handcraft. This is an important point in exam. It will come. What was the most celebrated mean to earn for Gandhi? Answer is handcraft. Okay. Fourth is emphasis on mother tongue. Gandhi emphasized mother tongue both as subject of study and a medium of instruction. He believed that the greatest handicap of prevailing system of education was that education was being imparted through the medium of English. This hindered the development of understanding and clarity of ideas. Mother tongue, he rightly believed, would enable the child not only to understand clearly but would also enable the children to express themselves effectively and clearly. This would build sound foundation of education. In some ways, what he said is right. You should emphasize on mother tongue, but it is also important to learn English to know what the barbarian Britishers are thinking or planning to do with you at the time. Even today, the Britishers, the West, is very, very brutal and gazing to stole the philosophy, the rich culture, the rich knowledge of Bharatiya civilization. And it is very important to learn English to know what those people are thinking, what they are planning to do with us, what kind of mindset they have toward us. This is very important to know, and therefore you should learn English. And that doesn't mean that you should leave your mother tongue. No, this is a crime to leave your mother tongue. You should be proud of your mother tongue, and you should learn English to know what the West is thinking, what the West is planning. That's what is important. But Gandhi said that education of a child, the medium of education and the medium of instruction should be in mother tongue. The books should be written in mother tongue. The subject, the medium of instruction, the language of teacher should be in mother tongue. And he thought that mother tongue is the best way to explain something to a child, and a child can express it himself or herself very very efficiently and clearly by his or her mother tongue. Fifth point is education based on non-violence. This is the most important point. Gandhi was a representative of one-sided non-violence, and he supported non-violence as no one in Bharatiya civilization supported. And his non-violence was very very different from the non-violence of Bharatiyas. Bharatiya gurus, Bharatiya rishis, their philosophy. Gandhi's philosophy was different. He said that even the enemy, even the aggressor kills you, you should not try to save yourself. You should not react. You should not respond. You should not do self, what you call, self defense. You should be killed by the aggressor. That was his non-violence. Leave that. But Gandhi said that educational philosophy for the Bharatiya children should be based on education system for the Bharatiya children should be based on non-violence. Then Gandhi on aim of education and curriculum. What Gandhi said about the aim of education and the curriculum of education, the method of education and the discipline of education. According to Gandhi, the aim of education is like this. Being an idealist and a realist, Gandhi kept ultimate aim as well as immediate aims of education before him. He regarded self-realization, spiritualism, and oneness with God as the ultimate aim of education. According to him, true education should result not in the material power but in spiritual force. That is why he laid great stress on religious education. Thus, spiritual aim is ultimate aim. So Gandhi said that religious education should be given to a child to make him spiritually evolved, to make him spiritually successful, not only in successful in a material world but also successful in spiritual world. So the immediate aims he included is utilitarian education, cultural aim, harmonious development of one's personality, preparation for complete living, character building, sociological aim, and or training for citizenship. So first is utilitarian education. What is utilitarian education? First we have to know. Considering the basic needs of man's life such as food, shelter, clothing, he advocated self-supporting education. This self-supporting aspect was meant in two different sources: education that will help one to be self-sufficient in pulling one's own weight, education which meets its own expenses. So utilitarian aim means to make a child self-sufficient, to manage his own expenses and to manage the expenses of the what he needs: food, shelter, clothing, and so on. He should be able to uh, fulfill his own expenses and to fulfill his education, food, shelter, clothing, and so on. That is utilitarian aim. Second is cultural aim. What is the cultural aim? Mere acquisition of knowledge is not enough for a man. He needs culture to refine his personality. He should have qualities of mind which may be reflected by in his daily conduct. So cultural education is also important. So his cultural aim was to make a child aware of his culture and his roots. Third is harmonious development aim. Gandhiji meant by education an all-round drawing out of best in child and man, body, mind, and spirit, harmonious development of all powers, innate and acquired, was the chief goal of Gandhian education. So, the education by Gandhi is all round drawing out of the best in child and man, body, mind, and spirit. Take a screenshot, this is very important. This will come in exam 100%. This will come. Fourth is complete living aim. Life is very complex in present age. Gandhi realized it and he formulated the scheme of education which would fit the child in later life. A child was considered prepared for complete living if he could adjust himself to self, his occupation, and his society. So, complete living means to adjust himself to self, his occupation, and his society, and to make the complex life simple and to live a complete life. This was the fourth aim of Gandhi on Gandhian education. Fifth is character building. Nothing else appealed to Gandhiji more than the building of character as one of the chief aims of education. So, one of the chief aims of education is character building by Gandhi. He made this the central purpose of education, and everything else was subordinated to this one purpose. Gandhi regarded character as the expression of the whole personality, including the ethical and spiritual aspect. An individual must subordinate his own interests to greater interests of society instead of working for personal gain. He must cooperate and collaborate with the fellow beings for bringing about a new social order. If he can do this, he is really a man of character. So Gandhiji said that it is not enough to live for oneself. You should live for society, for the country, for the world, and that will make you a man of character. And Gandhi said that character is the most important thing, and his education system, his educational philosophy was centered was centered around character building. Okay. Sixth aim of education of Gandhian philosophy is, while Gandhi advocated self-supporting education, he aimed at producing useful citizens. So the sixth aim of Gandhian education is training for citizenship, to make good citizens. This is primary need of India. The future citizens should understand their problems, rights, and duties. To be a good citizen, to be useful for country. Then curriculum comes. Gandhi advocated complete overhauling of curriculum. First, education should be related to environment of the child. Our emphasis should be upon all those subjects which concern our own country, our people, our life, our physical, our social environment. So firstly, Gandhi said that the curriculum should be related to the environment of the child, where child is born, in the country where child is born, and the area of the child. The education should be related to the own country, to own people, to own life, own physical and social environment. Nothing external should be taught to a child. This is the first point. Secondly, he emphasized the teaching of mother tongue as opposed to the teaching of English, and opposed to the teaching of English. The medium of English, according to him, was the greatest handicap in prevailing system of education. It hindered understanding of structure, clarity of thought, and put a check on self-expression. So Gandhi said that English medium teaching is very vast kind of teaching, and you should be taught in your mother tongue, Odia, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, and so on. Your own language. You should be taught in your own language. That was the second point of Gandhian philosophy about curriculum. Thirdly, Gandhi introduced craft as essential part of curriculum. He wanted craft not as an additional subject but as the medium of education. He wanted the whole process of education should be imparted through some handicraft or industry. Okay, so Gandhi said that craft should not be an additional subject but it should be a medium of education, and he wanted that the whole process of education should be imparted through some handicraft or some industrial activity. Okay, so I think curriculum and aim is over. Now method of teaching. What was the method of teaching according to Gandhi? Education through craft. Education through craft. Education by activity or emphasis on activity. Third is correlated method. Correlated method means teaching of various subjects should be in the form of correlated knowledge and not in the form of separate subjects. Teaching of craft will be the center, and teaching of all subjects should be related to the craft. So everything in Gandhian philosophy of education is related to craft. Education through craft, emphasis on activity. What activity? Craft activity. Third is correlated method. Correlated with what? Correlated with craft, related to craft. And fourth is mother tongue as a medium of education. So the method of teaching of Gandhian philosophy of education is education through craft, emphasis on activity, correlated method, mother tongue as medium of education, and the last one is playway. Playway means to teach in such a manner that the child will be interested to learn. Okay, learning should be spontaneous. He favored playway technique to create interest in learning of different subject. The child should be made interested towards the learning process. Then what comes? Gandhiji's great experiment in basic education. Gandhi was a master of experiencing. He experienced in many things, and by his experiences many disasters also happened in our country. Leave them. So let's learn what was Gandhi's great experiment in basic education. First is free and compulsory education for 7 years. Second, mother tongue as a medium of instruction. Third is process of education to be centered around some form of manual and productive work in shape of craft. Fourth is to be self-supporting to the extent of covering teachers' pay, own expenses, and own needs. Okay, take a screenshot. These are the four great experiments of Gandhi according to K.L. Srimalli, not Sriballi, Srimalli. So, essential features of a basic education, fundamental, and this humanism. Okay, okay. So next is essential features of a basic education of Gandhi. Free and compulsory education, purposeful activity, mother tongue, self-supporting, primary for villages, new cooperative regime. These are the 6 features of a basic education of Gandhi. So I think of free and compulsory education, you know. Purposeful activity means productive activity, the activity by which you earn money. Mother tongue, you know, medium of education should be in mother tongue. This is the feature of Gandhi's basic education. Fourth is self-supporting, you know, previously I taught you. Fifth is primarily for villages. The feature of basic education of Gandhi is that his basic education scheme is primarily for villages. Basic education was primarily devised for villages. Gandhiji said in discussing the question of a primary education, I have hitherto deliberately confined myself to the villages, as it is the villages that the bulk of India's population resides. To tackle successfully the question of villages is to solve the problem for the cities also. So he said that the most of the population of Bharat is residing in villages, so you should tackle the problems of villages to tackle the problems, to solve the problems of cities also. Basically he said that if you solve the problems of villages, the problem of cities will also be solved. So this is the fifth feature of Gandhi's basic education. Sixth is new cooperative regime. Basic education aims at bringing about a new cooperative regime in place of present inhuman regime based on exploiting and violent forces. So he said that the regime should be cooperative, not destructive or violent. Philosophy behind the basic education of Gandhi. What was the philosophy behind the basic education of Gandhi? Gandhi's humanism. Humanism is nothing but a practical philosophy of education which aimed at the elimination of untouchability, creation of a classless society, and enabling the individual to develop the best in him. So Gandhi was a humanist according to him, and he said that there should not be untouchability, classes, higher classes, lower classes in society, and the individual should develop the best in him. So this is the humanist view, humanist feature of Gandhi's educational philosophy. Second is belief in fatherhood of God and brotherhood of man. This is basically that the God is the father of all living beings, the creatures, the wildlife, and so on, and every man is the brother of another man. The fatherhood of God and brotherhood of man was a feature of Gandhi's educational philosophy. You can take screenshot of those paragraphs which you think is difficult for you to understand at once. Gandhi's idealism. Gandhi was idealist. his idealist view about basic education is like this. His idealism is reflected in his aims of education. According to him, education enables us to realize supreme truth, goodness, and beauty. Idealism, his idealism is reflected in his aim of education. According to him, education enables us to realize supreme truth, supreme nature of life, beauty, and goodness. This is the idealistic character of his philosophy. Gandhi's nationalism, it is visible in his concept of surroundings or setting in which education is to be imparted, like Rousseau in his system of education advocates natural environment and natural way of teaching where child enjoys complete freedom without any restriction or force. He was not in favor of using force against children and confining their education to four walls of school. Nationalism, so this is a misprint. This is not nationalism, this is naturalism. Naturalism means that students should not be given teaching inside four wall and a roof. The children should be given education in free environment, natural environment, among trees and natural surrounding, and no restriction, no what you call no bad behavior should be given to a child. No restriction, no force, no what you call anger should be given to a child. The child should feel free without any restriction, without any force, and in a natural environment, in a natural habitat. A child should get education. This is the naturalist view of Gandhi, like J.J. Rousseau. We will learn about Rousseau later. So I think you are well understood about naturalism of Gandhi's philosophy of education. The last is pragmatism. What is pragmatism? If there is idealism in aims and naturalism in the environment as advocated in basic education, there is pragmatism in the method of Gandhian system of education. So idealism is in the aim of Gandhian education, and naturalism is in the environment of education, and pragmatism in the method of education. Education through activity is the ideal approach of the scheme. In the true spirit of pragmatism, it always tends to stress action rather than reflection. Learning by doing is the core of basic education. It was the pragmatic approach of life that led Gandhi introduce craft in basic education. So Gandhi was basically drawn towards pragmatism. He believed that education which you get from doing is very more efficient than what you learn from a teacher, from a book, and so on. If you learn something by doing yourself, then that education will be far more useful than what you learn from elsewhere. And this is the core value of pragmatism and the core value of Gandhian basic education. And their slogan is learning by doing. That is the slogan of pragmatism and the basic education of Gandhi. This is very important. You can take a screenshot. The question will be like this: tell us how Gandhi's basic education was pragmatic in its method of teaching. The answer will be like this, that Gandhi's basic education was very much what you call inspired by pragmatism, that is reflected in the method of Gandhian system of education and the core value of Gandhian educational philosophy, that learning by doing, learning by craft, learning by physical activity. You can write this much if the question which is asked is of 3 marks. I think the question about pragmatism will not be more than 3 marks. So this will the answer. Take a screenshot, read this paragraph, and you will be able to answer any question about pragmatism. So I think you all are well understood. If you have any doubt, then comment below, and I will be I will feel very good to answer your doubts. If you liked the video, then like, share the video with your friends and those who are interested. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you have not subscribed yet, and thank you for watching the video.